Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? Yeah, it's been another kind of tough day. More storms moved through. In case anybody saw the videos that I posted yesterday, it was more of a personal log, I guess. I mean, I don't mind sharing it with everybody because I feel that if it can help somebody, okay. Um, but yeah, yeah, like I said, I think I said it. I'm not too sure at this point, but anyway, yeah. Some more storms moved through. Real downpours. I mean, real drenchers. A little bit more pain in my chest too, because not like yesterday or last night. It was pretty bad. I know my hair's wet because I just got out of the shower not too long ago. But heck, you know me, I'm not a very vain person or anything. But anyway, yeah, and I'm feeling like I'm starving to death, like I haven't eaten in months or something. I think it's because of everything I've been fighting. It's just been getting to me with physically. And then, of course, a lot of changes, a lot of things happening spiritually as well. A lot of that inner work going on and so forth. Um, Coming to some realizations, making some decisions about some things and so forth. Um, Very, I don't know, I guess, I know I keep referring back to it, but, that whole Seven of Cups thing. In many ways, feeling confused. Just taking it slow, gaining clarity as I move forward, especially with something that came to a realization for me today. Something I've been kind of pondering here for maybe the last week or so, and I'm still up in the air about it. Um, Not entirely too sure how to move forward with that situation either. Um, but yeah, I just personally, right now, I just want to focus on right here. Um, with things that, especially with everything that's happened over the last year and a half, it's it's been very trying, very challenging. I know. It's like in some ways I'm very happy that a lot of it has happened. Um, but at the same point, I was just about to say at the same point, I could have done without the drama or whatever, but at the same point, if it wasn't for that drama, I wouldn't be here right now making a lot of realizations or, yeah, realizing a lot of things. So, um, I'm not entirely too sure where this path is taking me right now. I know it's very unusual for me because I've always been very goal driven, career oriented, so on and so forth. And I feel, oh, believe me, as far as career is concerned, I am nowhere where I thought I'd be. Obviously, I did not go to school twice to be a delivery driver. Oh my gosh. But um, it's where I'm at right now. I know it's where I need to be. Not just because of the physical issues, but also because of um, spiritually. I don't think, actually, I know if I was still in my last degree field and so on and so forth, I know that I'd probably be even more confused. I would definitely be depressed. I would know I would definitely be anxious, totally unhappy, angry. Um, I would be in a very negative place. And if it wasn't for me being on this path that I have been on, taking more of a laid back approach, it's helped me to, in many ways, sort a lot of things out and clear out a lot of things, do a lot of healing, internal work, that inner work. And that's really what it boils down to with a lot of things. A lot of things that I realize that I get kind of frustrated about. I realize that I kind of expect people to be going down that same road or whatever, have those same realizations. And I have to realize that, look, not everybody's going to be. Everybody's on their own path and they have to discover things in their own ways. I get, and that's one of the things that has been going through my brain with trying to make the decision. I know I keep saying, yeah, I want to do, the life coaching and all this sort of stuff, because I see how positive it has been for me, and so on and so forth. But at the same point, I also look at the sorts of things that I would be coming up against. And that's what keeps going over and over in my brain. The sorts of things that have really bothered me throughout my adult life, really, throughout a lot of my life, even as a teenager. Um, Probably one of the biggest things is people saying that they want to change, but then they fall right back into their old patterns. And I'm just as guilty, and I know it's a reflection on myself as well. And it just, but I just keep going back to, certain people that have been in my life, certain people that are currently in my life. People that I have said enough is enough and closed the door. And of course, people blaming me for their issues and so forth. That's probably the biggest lesson that I've had to face and really have sink into me is, and really what has shown it to me is actually doing the delivery work. I hate to say it. The people who do, the request will come in, it'll show, say, $12 or whatever, and for this delivery, and it includes the tip, and then in the end they take the tip back. And basically the scam artists, and it happens quite frequently. And I've had to realize, and really in many ways too, it goes back to my cab driving days, and it goes back to when I was a graphic designer, even whether I was working for a company or, actual employment or having clients, so on and so forth. I have had to come to the realization, I'll admit, I have a tendency to take things personally. And in some ways, I've been frustrated because I have felt that it was a reflection on me. Maybe, yeah, and not necessarily of things that I'm doing or what have you, but they're just being, I don't know, being mean to me or whatever for whatever reason. I've even been told by some people, oh my gosh, you're just a bit too much, like with me having a boisterous laughter, laughing too much, being happy, basically. I'm too much. Or allowing myself opportunities to cry, or this or that, even if it's in front of somebody. It's like, well, I'm sorry. But that's the thing that these are the sorts of things I've been having to wrestle with. It's like, I have to realize that even like with friends or people who I thought were friends, um, that who have, you know, beaten me down. And even here recently with, not recent, but one friend that I had to let go in my life, someone I'd known for a very long time. And I have a tendency to do that when I grab hold of somebody as a friend or whatever. I kind of have a tendency to hold on to them for a very long time, um, through thick and thin. And this person in particular, um, she was a beautiful soul when we first met, but unfortunately, she wound up going down a pretty bad path, I guess, a very negative path. Um, Drugs, drinking, negative people, all that sort of thing. And that's been always been a big pet peeve of mine, drugs and drinking. And where do I live? Right, Party City. But there were other things that drew me to here. That's another story. But anywho, so yeah, for me, and unfortunately, in that sort of relationship, I was beaten down quite a bit and abused also. And I'm not trying to play the victim card. I knew it at the time, or in later years, anyway, and yet I still allowed the relationship, the friendship to happen. So, and in the end, yeah, I got taken pretty good, but that's okay. So is she. But anywho, um, story for maybe another day. Probably not. But anyway, my point to this is that I have been having to revisit a lot of that because it has had its effects on my self confidence and my perspective on the world, really, perspective on myself. So, in the end, though, I've had to realize that I really am a good person. I am a bit naive. I'll be the first to admit it. I do wear my heart on my sleeve. I'll admit it. But because I wear my heart on my sleeve, it also allows my light to shine through. My positivity, my light, my joy. I just have to learn how to be more cautious. And what I also have had to realize is that what people are doing is not a reflection on me. I know I'm a good person. I have a beautiful heart. And I have a lot of love to give. And I want to be able to give it. So when somebody does do something to me, and I do have a tendency to go out of my way to try and be a people pleaser. I'll be the first to admit it. But what I've had to realize is that I when people are doing things to me, it's not a reflection of me. It's a reflection on them. And that's been a hard lesson for me to realize and to come to terms with. So anyway, and it's made me question if it's, something that I really want to do, especially, with being a life coach or whatever. Do I really want to go down that road? Or do I just want to find that peaceful solution? And that's something else that I have wrestled with also. With something that happened with me going back several months and the peace that I felt. There's only a couple people who know about that, and I'm going to keep it that way. I thought about sharing it, but I'm like, no. It's something that's very private for me. And I thought about, trying to maybe help people to feel that and so forth, but unless you actually go through it, there's there's no way that you can really experience it. I don't know. In many ways, I know I'm up here just talking, trying to talk a lot of things out. I'm somebody who likes to, I am very philosophical. I will admit it. I do think a lot and everything, but I'm somebody also who has to get things out in the open. Um, but anyway, I just wanted to share, hopefully, maybe it will help to inspire somebody or whatever. I I still feel that there's a lot of good in the world. I just feel that people are constantly in survival mode. Never really got out of that first house stage and are being driven by fear, basically. And so that puts everybody into survival mode. And that's where a lot of the inner work has to come from, where with figuring things out for themselves and so forth. And I feel that, working through those fears, the anger, the frustrations, all of it, that dark side, the dark night of the soul journey, basically. And that's how you can find peace. And from there, that's how you find love. So I know I don't have a whole lot of loyal followers or anything. Um, but with the people who actually do at least check in every once in a while or something, I hope that my journey helps to inspire you to maybe make changes in your life, to maybe look at the reason why you keep falling into the same patterns over and over again, just like I have. Don't get me wrong. I have never, don't, yeah, when I was younger, I did a little bit of drinking, but it's just not me. I've never done drugs, ever. And those are probably my two biggest pet peeves. Tell you the truth, I think the biggest mistake this country is making is legalizing weed. I see so much changes with it, with people. It's just, and it's not just because, oh, it's a gateway drug. No, I see people who are strictly weed users. I see changes in them dramatically, and I know they're not doing anything else. I see it all the time, and I've seen a lot of changes happening with this city because of the legalization. I know I don't like to get into politics, but this is just how I feel, um, when it comes to the things like this. And I'm very adamant about it. And tell you the truth, I wish they would bring back prohibition. I've seen too much. I've had alcoholics in my too much in my life, whether it's family, friends, what have you. Mm-mm. Nope. I don't want to be down that path. So anyway, yeah, I'm just and people, I know I get people who bash me all the time for it, but the way I look at it is, take a look at yourself. Really take a good, long, hard look at yourself, and then come back and talk to me. All right. So anyway, I still love everybody. I still have a lot of love to give and everything. I just hope this message finds somebody and helps them. All right. I love you all. I'll talk to y'all soon.